There are two different types of approaches you can take when you're putting together your offshore strategy. I've figured this out after studying what hundreds of different people request and what ultimately their offshore plans end up looking like. One approach is the scorched earth approach. The other approach is the scalpel approach. Which one suits you better? Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson, author of the book Nomad Capitalist, Scorched Earth versus Scalpel. What does scorched earth mean? Well, this is, as you may know, a military term. It means you're burning everything to the ground. You're leaving nothing behind. You're taking nothing. It's all burned. It's all gone. Scalpel, obviously, is what a surgeon uses. They cut out just a little part. They excise that mole. They cut out just one little thing. It's very precision oriented. This is the decision that we will go through when we're figuring out your offshore tax strategy. Let's say that you're living in Australia, like someone who came to me recently, and you're saying, Andrew, I'd like to leave Australia. I want to cut my connections here, and I want to go and live overseas and be able to go where I'm treated best. I want to choose how much tax I'm paying rather than having Australia force feed a 49% tax rate down my throat. I'll go somewhere else. I'll leave Australia behind. He is going to practice what's called a scorched earth approach. And what does that mean? It means he's going to get rid of all the stuff he has in Australia to make sure that he's totally out of Australia. As tax agencies get more and more sophisticated, as more and more people become expats, digital nomads, nomad capitalists, global citizens, whatever you want to call them, more and more people are leaving and governments are getting more and more desperate for tax revenue, they're clamping down. There was a situation not too long ago where somebody got thrown back onto the Australian tax rolls because he had a storage unit where he was storing some of his stuff. Oh, so you're going to be returning to Australia because you still have this storage unit with some old mugs. Well, had to retroactively go back. His tax non-resident status was rescinded. And so to avoid that, the easiest way to do that is scorched earth. Burn it all to the ground. Simply get rid of it. What makes things more complex and more expensive is when someone wants to take more of a scalpel approach. Oh, you know what? I'd like to keep that Australian bank account. Maybe I'll keep an investment property just in case I ever want to return. My business, okay, I'll move the business offshore, but I've got this one guy in Australia. He's really good. He does really well with my social media. I don't want to get rid of him. So let's keep him employed. Okay, well, we can work with that. There are some things we can't work with. Obviously, we want to work within the bounds of the law, and my approach tends to be a bit more conservative, hence why I gravitate more towards the scorched earth personally. I don't want anything sticking. But if you want to take the scalpel approach, that's fine. But understand that that guy who's doing social media for you in Australia, well, that's a tax tie to Australia for your business. And so we have to make a more complicated structure to work around that guy so that you don't get dragged back into the net thanks to having him and have your business's profits subject to tax in Australia or wherever you're from. You want to leave a few things in Australia? Okay, but it might mean you have to have more explaining to do. You want to spend more time in your home country? Okay, well, what's the reason for that? How are we going to structure that? We need to figure out how that's going to work. And so the more things that you want to keep, the more ties, the more connections, the more employees, the more whatever you want to keep to your home country, the more difficult and complicated that structure is going to be. And so what my approach is, I don't want to be a big four accounting company at Nomad Capitalist. I don't want to be one of these, companies where they run around and, we're going to write a memo and we're going to, give you 100 pages and you don't know what you got. I want to get right down to the bottom line in helping people get a positive ROI. And to me, the fastest way to get a great ROI is to remove as many things as possible, and sometimes that makes making some difficult decisions. It means telling the Australian social media guy, either we're going to replace you, or you're going to move to Bali so that you're not in Australia anymore. Those are the kinds of things that I'll go through when I'm talking to folks. And generally it works out pretty well and people are pretty cooperative. But understand that the more of the scalpel approach that you want to take, the more expense you're going to have. What's it going to cost to build your offshore plan? Well, it's going to cost more every time you want to, but let's just leave that. Or let's just leave that. And that's fine. But if you're not a multinational company who's being helped by one of these big four accounting firms and you're just saying, I just want to get the fastest return on my investment, do understand that the simplest structure that you create, the one that has the fewest moving parts and the one that has to rely the least on what you're leaving behind, what you and your business are leaving behind, that's going to be the one that gets you the fastest ROI. So think about that. And feel free to leave a comment below. Which approach do you like more, Scorched Earth or Scalpel? What questions do you have about how this works? Leave a comment below. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson from Nomad Capitalist. I wrote this book, which you can find on Amazon, to distill a lot of the stuff we talk about in these videos and a lot of the stuff I've learned over the last decade plus, traveling all around the world, teaching you about how to legally reduce your taxes, build your personal freedom, and create wealth faster. Definitely get a copy of this book if you want to learn more. Now, if you want to watch more videos, make sure you subscribe to our channel and make sure you click the notifications bell so you never miss one of our new videos with more tips on how to go where you're treated best. And if you're already a 6- or 7-figure entrepreneur and you'd like to put these strategies in place for yourself, go to nomadcapitalist.com and learn about how I can help you.